So Will, I would have assumed that
Yeah.
if you've used a computer for, say, over a year, you've crudted it up with all your applications and all the weird files that you're storing in all those crazy places,
Yeah.
that performance would just, you would have a performance loss.
You know what I always say here
What?
at PC World?
What?
When you assume, it makes an out of you and me both.
Oh, okay. Well, let's, I don't,
I'm here to challenge assumptions is what I'm saying.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm
well,
going to challenge some assumptions today. I'm going to go and tell you, if you feel like you're going to get angry about stuff, you might not want to watch this video because it's going to make you upset. Your world is about to get shook.
So I was chatting with our fine folks over on Discord recently.
Oh, you mean the full nerd Discord?
The full nerd Discord.
The link's in the description below?
Maybe I'll put it there.
Okay.
And I was making the conjecture that hey, one of the ways to probably future-proof yourself is to say, okay, well, if you think you need 8 cores, well then maybe you probably need 12 cores because by the time you gunk up your machine and you load up all your applications, or you're running multiple applications at the same time, that you actually end up needing 12 cores rather than 8 cores.
More cores equals more headroom. That makes sense.
You know, it's an assumption.
Yeah.
And then I put out a theory. I was like, you know what? I bet if you benchmark an 8-core CPU that was super clean versus a 12-core CPU that was super dirty, that performance would be exactly the same. I really thought like performance would get negated so much by like all the crazy stuff that people run on their desktop.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I mean, we can't test everybody's desktop. I'm sure there are people who are, you know, running a lot of crazy stuff.
Look,
but
how many Yahoo toolbars do you have on your browser?
exactly,
That's the real test.
yeah. But I thought, okay, well, who do I think probably has the most gunked up OS install? And I turned to you and said, hey, can you test this for me?
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, you know,
So-
yeah, it's for science, right?
18 or 20 hours of testing later, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
I did that. I had a Windows install that I did last April. When I switched over from Intel to AMD, I did a clean install. Everything was fresh. I have gunked it up. You know, I have fan control and the everything search engine and Power Toys and Signal and Slack and Discord and OpenRGB and fan control.
And you just run that all the time.
And the Epic Game Store
When you're
and a couple of
gaming and
they're
all that
always
kind
there.
of stuff. Oh,
I have
yeah.
64 gigs of RAM. I don't have to shut stuff down. I can do whatever I want.
So I just would have assumed then that performance was going to be degraded on whatever hardware that you have in there.
I thought so too. Everything I know about computers tells me that the longer you go between Windows reinstalls, the slower and crappier your computer gets.
And the more applications that you run in the background, the more it's going to degrade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why our official test bench
Yeah.
for CPUs and GPUs, we have like as close to a clean install as we can, really minimal stuff.
You turn off OneDrive.
Yeah, I'm really like trying to watch things to make sure there's not other things running at the same
Yeah.
time, like OS updates even, like can affect benchmark scores.
Which makes sense for like testing CPUs. Now, we're testing something different here. So I have Dropbox installed too. So it's one more thing running in the background.
Oh goodness.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the point is, I had this nice dirty machine that still felt pretty good on my 7800X3D.
Yep.
We wanted to do some side by sides, clean and dirty. So
okay.
I ran the normal CPU benchmark suite with a couple of additions, and then I wiped that machine, completely reinstalled, brand new reinstalled with Windows from scratch, same exact version of Windows, put all the same drivers back on it, and only put the drivers on it. And then I ran the same benchmark suite again.
So I would have assumed, under my theory, that a clean install of a 9800X3D would perform just about the same as a dirty install of a 9950X3D. So you ran all those testing numbers. Tell me real quick, how close am I?
Adam, I got bad news for your preconceived notions.
Oh no.
They're about to, I said you were gonna be shook.
I'm clutching my pearls.
It hardly matters at all.
Wait,
In fact, sometimes the dirty install was faster than the clean install for reasons that are completely inexplicable to me.
wait.
Yeah. Even within the same CPU, 9800X3D to 9800X3D dirty, same like 3% difference for the most part.
So we do have benchmarks.
Yeah.
I want to get to them because I don't know if I fully believe you.
So if you want to know the full details of the machine, the specs are in the description below. The one thing worth mentioning, it's a 64 gig machine. I do a lot of Unreal Engine work, and Unreal Ed eats memory, so 64 gigs is where I start these days. Anyway, so starting out with Cinebench. Cinebench is a real good, easy, repeatable test.
Yeah.
You run it 10 times, you're gonna get the same result basically 10 times, unless there's thermal throttling or something
problem,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah. And the difference on the 9800X3D for single-threaded was 130 to 132.
I mean,
which is a 1.52% increase.
I mean, that's
on
like
the
margin
dirty
of error.
versus
That
clean.
could be your ambient temperature in your room.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
having a difference.
If it was warmer in the afternoon when I ran the clean benchmarks, that would explain that.
Right. Well, I mean, and same thing for the 16 core
Four
version.
4 points, 2.88%, 3%. For the most part, the numbers, the difference between the clean install and the dirty install, with everything running in the background, about 3% across the board.
Spoilers. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So single threaded. Guess what? You've got a bunch of cores. They can do the
Yep.
other tests.
Yep.
What about multi-threading? Because that's where you need all the cores to push really hard, and you don't want to have all the stuff going on in the background.
So clean install is 2.55% faster on the 9800, and the 9950 it's 4.53%.
Okay. So a little worse than the single threaded, but okay. This is
this is a,
nowhere near.
It's not. This isn't like a CPU upgrade. This is like a hey, I got a better driver.
Yeah, and I mean, we did the 16 core version. We didn't do the 12 core version, but I just you're probably not going to get anywhere near that 12 core version either.
I ran these numbers multiple times because I was looking at this. I was like, this cannot possibly be right. There has to be more overhead.
Okay.
here.
Well, hey, Cinebench is literally just doing calculations in one way. It's very kind of straightforward. Okay.
It's mostly is the CPU. It hits the CPU really hard. A little bit of memory bandwidth. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you've got another test like that, so let's go over this. A little more complicated.
So Blender's another. It's a little bit synthetic, but it uses a real application.
Yeah.
On the 9800 X3D, the three different benchmarks are Monster, Junk Shop, and Classroom, and respectively, they were 1.46%, 2.69%, and 1.39% faster on the clean install than the dirty on the 9800. It's a little bit more pronounced on the 16 core part at 2.79%, 2.94%, and 3.5%.
Did you find usually the 16 core part had more of a delta?
A little bit more of a delta on the
That's
16
interesting.
core part, which probably means my guess is that there's more. There's just more traffic copying to do. So like you're seeing more.
Well, yeah,
improvement on
because
the
you're
16
crossing
core part.
CCDs. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the thing. Or what AIO were you using? Like how? Was it thermal throttling?
I'm
at all?
using a 360 AIO, and it did not show signs of thermal throttling.
Okay.
Because the water temperature was like 32 C at the most. It would drop back down to 25.
Okay. Well, forget this stupid synthetic stuff. Let's go
Yeah.
to real practical applications. Photoshop.
Yeah. So in Puget Bench, the 9800 X3D dirty one
Wait.
on Photoshop was faster than the clean one by
Okay.
1.4%.
Okay.
And the 9950 X3D was about 3% faster on the clean one than the dirty.
Yeah. I mean,
How you doing here, Adam? You feeling okay?
this is
Shook.
Yeah.
Shook.
This is okay. This is messing me up. Okay, well, what about video editing? Because that's way more intensive.
Yeah, it's a really
than
heavy
Photoshop.
workload. It's 8% slower almost on the clean install than the dirty install.
Okay, well, that can't be
Nope,
something.
that's just, I ran that one multiple times too.
Really?
And said results were real consistent. It loved my old dirty install of Windows way more than my new clean install
Maybe
of
you had
Windows.
some sort of like cache that it was.
It's
No.
possible. It could have been on a better.
because-
Maybe it was on the inside rim of the SSD, so it was running faster. I don't know. That's not a real thing, by the way.
I know. I was like, wait, what?
In the old days, you used to partition the hard drive so that you put the stuff you use most often on the fast part of the drive and not the anyway. it
Back
doesn't
in my
matter.
day.
Back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. This doesn't
Shook.
matter. Gaming is where
Yeah.
it matters because you don't want to hit the 1% lows. You're a professional gamer. You don't want to have it affect your 360 no scope headshots, right?
That's what I do.
So for gaming, it's probably going to be more sensitive.
It's a little more sensitive.
Okay.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
this is Cyberpunk. This is the Cyberpunk run that we do for CPU testing. It's 1080p ultra preset, no ray tracing, no upscale, no frame gen, real frames.
1080p.
farm to table
What
frames.
is this schlub 1080p?
CPU benchmark.
Oh, okay.
On the 9800 X3D, the clean one was 2.5% slower at the average frame rate, and the 1% lows, but 4% better. So, huge deltas here.
A little bit more of a delta on the 16 core,
Yep.
but that
6% average, 3.5% on the minimums rather, not 1%.
Okay.
lows.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, even on the full path tracing, which is gonna even at 1080p, I mean, it's still going to.
This is a video
tax
card benchmark, yeah.
tax the GPU, and we're
Yep.
seeing this. And the dirty version is faster.
It is faster.
This doesn't make any sense.
No.
That is weird.
No, it's wild.
It is. some of this is real close to just margin of error, which once again could just be the ambient temperature in your room, or
I mean,
it
is springtime in California. It was a warm day when I did most of these benchmarks. Yeah. We're not climate controlled at my house.
But still, this is not. I thought we were going to be talking about like double digits.
I thought we were looking at 10%,
Yeah.
and this is like the dirty one is 5% faster on the 9800. Now, there's also other stuff that happens with CPU changes these days. With these disaggregated CPUs, there's scheduler stuff that happens inside Windows.
True.
And we could be seeing some shenaniganry here, because when you change the CPUs, then things happen. And there was a lot of CPU changing as I was doing these benchmarks.
Yeah.
So it's possible there's something outside that's happening here, but the results were pretty consistent across the board that it really didn't matter.
Jeez. Okay. F1, even
Yep.
at 1080p, is definitely going to be more of a CPU.
This was CPU.
Yeah.
We're looking at it now. 1% low is 11% better on the 9800 X3D on the clean one than the dirty one, or minimum frame rates
Interesting.
rather.
Okay.
The 9950 X3D, the minimum frame rate was 9% worse almost. I think this one actually I think this one F1 was running on the non X3D core on the 9950 X3D. I couldn't get it to run on the Vcache core.
Oh, interesting.
So I think that we're seeing the difference between the Vcache and the no Vcache on this
Oh,
one.
interesting.
Would be my
Okay.
guess.
Well, and then we got Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
Yep.
We're pushing hundreds and hundreds of frames here. Here, that 8-core.
Clear winner.
That's a clear winner. That's the
Finally.
that's the kind of difference I would
Yeah.
have thought we would have seen.
If you're running at 578 frames per second, you're like, you know what? I need a little bit more here, guys. You can get up to 14.42% faster if you reinstall Windows and go through the whole hassle of setting up your machine from scratch.
Oh, man.
Turning everything off and then turning the fans on your coolers up to 100%.
Yeah. Well, it didn't apply to the 16-core version.
Just as a side note, when I was doing the clean testing, I did run the fans at 100% just to get the best possible case.
Yeah.
And at one point, my daughter walked in the room and said, "Daddy, your computer sounds like it's dying."
Yeah, and you said, yes, honey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Working as intended.
We're all dying. Okay, so the last one here is
Yeah.
the Will's favorite fork knife.
Yeah.
Not only that, you have your fabulous settings.
These are my esports settings.
Yeah, which if you want to go see the settings, there's a video that I'll link.
put them in the description, too.
So that we kind of understand what settings you're running at. But here you're running at 4K.
Worth mentioning, we can't compare these numbers to the previous runs of Fortnite because it's a different benchmark loop. Every time they do a patch, the old loops, the old recordings get bad. You can't use them anymore.
True.
So
But the settings remain
settings
the same.
are the same.
And here you run it at 4K, which is going to be more of a GPU bottleneck, right?
Yeah, 4K with TAA on, I think, performance setting, which is like it's a upscaling a fair amount. But
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff going on in here, though.
So Fortnite is notorious for having terrible 1% lows.
Yeah.
Like just awful frame drops.
Somebody should fix those.
There's a lot of threads on Reddit about how to fix the frame drops in Fortnite. On this one, the dirty system was faster on the 9800 X3D again by almost 15%.
Well, with the averages, 1% lows are a little lower.
The 1% lows were better on
Yeah.
the clean.
but still not a ton.
On the 9950, we saw a 6% bump on the clean machine for the average frame rates, and a whopping 25% increase in the 1% lows.
Interesting.
Which is like, it would be good if the 1% lows weren't less than half of the average frame rate. Like, it's a huge delta there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean that is huge.
Kind of.
Like, well, but for 1% lows, like that's really going to matter for this kind of thing.
I think the 1% lows in Fortnite are bad enough that it's not actually not that much of an improvement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we're in the realm of like,
It's just not
it's slightly
as
less
bad.
bad,
Oh, okay.
rather than actually good.
Well, you know what, Will? So you made me lose an argument on our Discord.
I'm sorry.
That's a real bummer.
Yeah.
Also, all of my notions of like, I try to keep any of my machine like running like super clean.
Doesn't
super
matter.
stock.
Let it rip.
I literally show everything in the bar because I want to see what's running at any time.
when you go to a website, it's like, hey, do you want to install the software? You should. Just do it.
See,
Hit the
I-
button. Click that ad.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
You
wait,
run 2 or
okay.
3 antiviruses.
Yeah, that's what I was
Get
going to
some
say.
toolbars
So
in
on
your
the other
browser.
end, you're saying, yeah, you can do whatever you want. Just
Windows
throw
will
it
just
all
make
out.
it work.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Maybe CPUs are just so good now that it's not that big of a difference. I wonder if, like, maybe if you loaded up a 3600X, then it's like, oh, okay.
I mean,
you're really old hardware, then you might see some bigger differences.
So my guess is that on 16 gig configurations, it's going to make much more of an impact because you're going to be filling system RAM. On 32 gig systems, maybe. And if people are interested in this, I can do some more testing. It would be fairly easy to do that.
Yeah, so maybe core count doesn't matter as much as actual RAM capacity or speed.
I have a 9900K at home that would be pretty easy to replicate this test on. And I think it's a 32 gig system right now, but we could do it at different memory configurations.
Or take that
easily.
same, like just pick one of the CPUs,
Yeah.
take the same thing, and just step down to like 32 and then 16.
Yeah, we could do that as
so
well.
So we have multiple, yeah, because maybe the RAM matters more. I don't know. I'm trying. I'm grasping at straws here.
Yeah.
This is wild. So yeah, I want to know. Are you also shook as I am? Because
I'm shook.
this is definitely weird. Are you shook?
I'm shook.
I'm shook. Alex looks pretty shook.
I literally have spent my entire, like, one of the first articles I pitched when I started working at Maximum PC was, hey, we should teach people how to refresh their Windows install, how to back their stuff up, reinstall Windows, get that fresh, clean, new Windows feel.
I've always been an advocate of, like, on my work machine.
Yeah.
I usually try to do a clean install every like 9 months.
Yeah, you got to keep it fresh.
Yeah, because I'm like, you want the most performance as possible.
That's exactly
But,
it.
man, this is.
And here we go.
this
It
is
doesn't
wild.
matter. Just let it rip.
Just let it rip.
Just install whatever software you want. Let it all run in the background. It don't matter.
You heard
Get
it
64
here.
gigs
You
of
heard it
RAM.
here first. Let
Yeah.
it rip. Yeah, let us know if you're going to let it rip too, or if you have any anecdotal evidence of, you know, maybe your machine slowing down more than Will's. Maybe Will's machine isn't as dirty as I expected it to be.
Maybe I'm just
so
really good at computers. It's possible.
We'll leave that one for the comments.
Wow.
So thanks everybody. Thank you, Will, for doing all the testing.
Hey, thanks for having me do the testing.
For
This was
more
fun.
of this fun testing and just blowing everybody's mind, subscribe over here and then hit that video that's going to play right here underneath Will's chin, somewhere around there, because it's a really good video.
It's going to shake you too. Maybe less
Debatable.
so.
We'll see.